I deem this reply a full acceptance of the Potsdam Declaration, which specifies the unconditional surrender of Japan.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
It had no factories, no products, no customers, no contracts, and a mere collection of spare change and pocket scrapings to meet a modest payroll for its first year. For a business enterprise that soon became one of the most revolutionary industries in the nation, providing the foundations for both war and peace that evolved into the epitome of innovation in American history, the Grumman Corporation had little going in its favor. But what it did have was a spirit present in the hearts of each and every one of the original 21 Grumman members, a spirit composed of a sense of pride, loyalty, and service to their country found in no other company in the nation, a spirit which drove their ideas to the impossible edge of innovation, which has established them as one of the country's most groundbreaking companies in the last century.
Leroy Grumman envisioned a dream which later became a reality that no one else would have ever imagined. The final perfection of the airplane will be one of the greatest triumphs that man has ever gained over nature. Grumman's steadfast dreams stayed with him as he brought reality to the ideas of the Navy, an amphibian float with retractable wheels and folding wings, suitable for land, water, and carrier deck landing, thus vastly enlarging the capabilities of a small fleet. This float played one of the most essential roles in the Allied invasion on D-Day, in which amphibious floats and tanks stormed the beaches of Normandy with 175,000 troops, thus initiating a major turning point of World War II.
Leroy Grumman, whose company was first created as a small manufacturer of aircraft parts, quickly was contracted after Grumman revolutionized the capabilities of landing gear for military biplanes in the Navy. In 1941, he designed an effective way to fold an aeroplane's wings so that a greater number of planes could fit on an aircraft carrier. At the onset of World War II, the Grumman Corporation produced the groundbreaking F-4F fighter plane. Dubbed the Wildcat, the plane was known for its excessive durability against the Mitsubishi Zero of Japan.
Catapulted into the war, the company rapidly expanded and championed Long Island's booming economic sector. Grumman alone employed 10% of Long Island's population, which increased fourfold as the demand for engineering technicians, factory workers, and industrial contractors exploded, thus propelling the once rural area into the modern age of manufacturing. During the war, Grumman was an outstanding example of American productivity, employing over 20,000 workers, many of whom were women. The Grumman Corporation ultimately laid the foundation to provide a local economic stimulus to Long Island during the nation's post-Depression years.
Perhaps the most significant factor of the Allied victory in World War II was the introduction of the F-6F Hellcat, the leading killer of the Japanese Zero. A more developed Wildcat, this plane was responsible for destroying nearly two-thirds of the entire Japanese Air Force.
These airplanes were rugged, they would take a lot of damage and still fly home. If you look at the overall picture, the thing that was really accomplished was a level of reliability well beyond anything that had been achieved in aircraft up to that time.
By the time the war was drawing to a close, Grumman Corporation had established itself as a primary supplier of the United States Navy. Its tremendous success during the conflict carried over into the coming decades as Grumman remained a major American manufacturer of aircraft. But the success of Leroy Grumman's company was grounded in the fact that every employee, no matter how small, was a part of the Grumman family. Grumman was one of the only companies of the World War II era in which workers did not desire union membership. Workers enjoyed the accessibility that allowed any person to walk into the president's office to outline a proposal or recommend a change in the company. The openness and close relations shared by one another allowed the company to set the sky as the limit for imagination and innovation.
After Grumman's unparalleled success in World War II, the company reached beyond the sky and set its sights on the stars during the height of the Cold War. The Soviet Union launched Sputnik in 1957, and America scrambled to follow suit with its own spacecraft as the frenzied space race ensued. The Grumman Corporation was hired by the United States government in 1962. It quickly redirected its focus away from military aircraft and began the design and construction of the Apollo Lunar Excursion Module.
There was no way to flight test it before commitment to a mission. Well, first of all, the lunar module operated successfully every mission, so that we did not accept something that didn't work the way we thought it would.
Compelled by the political duel between the United States and the Soviet Union, Grumman engineers had to discern how to construct the lunar module, based upon neither prior precedents nor a distinct knowledge of how to proceed. It was an innovation in a class of its own. By 1968, Grumman had successfully launched Apollo 5, which became the first unmanned spacecraft to land on the moon.
Building on the Apollo 5's groundbreaking achievement, the company was able to provide the victory for America in the space race in 1969 with the world's first manned landing on the moon by Apollo 11. This famed mission with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin affirmed America's dominance over the international aerospace field.
Perhaps the lunar module's most important role, however, was not for the Apollo 5 or the Apollo 11 missions.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Houston says that they will get back to Earth alive only if the lunar module systems work perfectly all the way.
During the infamous Apollo 13 operation, when an electrical malfunction threatened the lives of the 3 crew members, the lunar module was able to be used as a lifeboat, in which the crew was safely able to return to Earth.
The lunar module was probably one of the most significant engineering achievements of the 20th century. Here we had doing something the company was very good at, and that is doing something that no one else had ever done, one of a kind, the first of its kind, and the talent and the activities that went on then was probably the golden age of engineering.
After laying the foundations for the United States victories in both World War II and the space race, Grumman remained a dominant force in aerospace technology throughout the 1970s and 80s. The company designed the prevalent Gulfstream aircraft, which are frequently used today as luxury business jets for the private sector. Grumman also produced milk and bread trucks, as well as the U.S. Postal Service truck, all vehicles used daily to help the average American. For the Navy, Grumman also designed and manufactured the F-14 Tomcat, which due to its aerodynamic structure and superior control system, ruled the skies for well over 30 years since its introduction in 1974.
In the early 1990s, the Grumman Corporation merged with Northrop, a change that diversified Grumman's production into many new fields, such as submarine assembly and naval defense systems, as it moved into the 21st century. While this change has brought the company away from the eras of its prior outstanding achievements, so that the organization is no longer a fixture in Long Island, this does nothing to diminish its prominent impact during the 20th century.
Leroy Grumman's legacy has established the Grumman Corporation as a symbol of innovation that will continue to echo through the halls of history and provide the stepping stones for the future pioneers of America.